What is up, guys? This is Ed Gregory from photosincolor.com, and this is another PIC live show, the show where I'm going to look through all of your awesome photographs, tell you what I think, and try and help you to get a little bit better. Now, this week's theme was, what was the theme? Space. It was empty space. So we're going to be looking at your photographs that contain empty space. Here we go. So this week I'm live on Facebook right now on this computer. So let me just talk to you guys. Guys, if you're on Facebook, you need to get over to YouTube and watch the actual full live show where we're in the studio reviewing all of the images. So what do we do in this show? We look through all of your awesome photographs. We've got loads of photographs sent in this week, and the theme is, well, I forgot it again. Empty space. I'm so sorry. Empty space. So that's where you guys have been taking photographs of things that have empty space in it. Now, previous weeks we've had lots of questions about the uploads and when people can upload and the order in which I look at them. So this week we are going to solve this, and we're actually going to make it a little bit harder for you guys to upload. Usually the upload link goes live straight after the live show. Starting this week, the upload link is going to go live 24 hours before the live show. That also means that you can't just go through and look at a load of photographs and just upload one that you think fits the theme. It means you have to think about it and actually challenge yourself to take better photographs. So next week's theme is going to be live on Monday. So I will go live on Facebook probably to tell people about that, and all you have to do is head over to photosincolor.com/live, and the link will be there. Okay, 1 second. Facebook guys, I'm going to close you down now. You have to head over to YouTube where we are live. Okay, I'm going to end that broadcast. There we go. And what we're going to do is hop into Lightroom and take a look at your awesome photographs that you've been sending in. So let me find my Lightroom on here before we open up. Here we go. We are into Lightroom. I'll make it full screen. There we go. And actually what I'm also going to do is I'm going to load up this little thing here, because what this means is you can actually see where my mouse is. So here we are we in the right place? Empty space, yes. Actually, talking about space, I mentioned this last week. Did everybody see Elon Musk? He sent his rocket ship, his big rocket ship, into space, and it worked. And then two of the things off the side exploded off and came back and landed. And then the main thing blew up in the ocean, but he's going to get better at that apparently. But the main thing is that he got the other rockets down, and his car, his Tesla, is currently cruising throughout space, and they reckon it's going to cruise around for a very, very, very long time, like millions of years. And I think that's pretty funny and awesome. High five to Elon Musk for one, doing awesome things, and two, you know, keeping things a little lighthearted. I like that. Okay, let's have a look at your photographs inside Lightroom. Empty space was the theme. I'm going to hit tab right now so we get rid of those side elements. Okay, so look at this. This was sent in, this is an iPhone photograph at 4mm, which is awesome. And is it empty space? Yes, it's fantastic. I love the white, the mist, the fog. I love it that there's basically nothing in the photograph apart from the few trees down at the bottom and this one lonely stick from a fence. I love this. Congratulations, David Dufour. Great. You're in line with the theme of this week. It's fantastic. Really, really great work. So well done. And I wouldn't actually have lifted the exposure or anything in this. Great use of cell phone photography. Florian K. Empty. You know what? This is empty space. Sorry, I'm drinking water. Empty space because we've got a canal or part of a river or something here that goes through a city or town, and there is nothing on the canal. So that's where we have the empty space. As a photograph overall, I actually really like it. If you're on a bridge, I kind of wish you were smack bang center though, because we're not quite on one side or in the middle. You can see the actual piece here. If we bring up, go to the develop module, here, and if we actually go into cropping here, you can see that it's not quite in the middle and it's not in one of these thirds. So if you were to bring in this side here and say, go something more like this, now what we've got is it's definitely on the side, so it feels a little bit easier. Not that you need to do that, that's just my opinion. As for the edit, I like it, but it's a little heavy. Black and white don't have to be heavy. So what I would do with this is I would bring up those highlights. I don't want to ruin the sky. I'd bring up the whites maybe as well. Let me try lifting the entire thing up and bringing back the blacks. So for me, something like this, I know that I've blown out the sky. In fact, let's bring back the highlights and bring up the whites. Let's try doing that. That's a little bit better. What we're doing, we've just lifted the image out that little bit and we've made those blacks a solid black, which is what I really like. And we can see that by looking at the histogram. Our whites are right at the edge and our blacks are right down at that edge. Nice work, Florian. Oh, look at this. This was sent in by, let's see if we can bring this up. Oh, a little slow. Alex Watson. This is beautiful. Is this some form of meditation, or is it a life-saving rescue thing? I don't know, but either way, I love the empty space around the two characters in the middle here. You've managed to get the shadow or reflection in the water really beautifully done. And I like the emotions on their faces as well. I think you've done a really, really wonderful job there. Well captured, and I would have put this smack bang in the middle. Now, what you can do with things like this is give even more empty space. In fact, shall I show you how to do that? I'm going to show you this. You're going to go like this. You're going to right click and you're going to go to edit in Photoshop. This is the first time I've ever done this inside a live show. So if I mess this up, I don't know what's going to happen. So here we go. We're now going to open this. This is what it looks like inside Photoshop. Now, if you wanted to add empty space around the outside, this is what I would do. I'd go into the crop module, and what I would do is I would actually extend, oh, in fact, before I do this, let me escape out of that. What I would do is duplicate, Command J, and that's going to create a brand new layer. I'll explain why in a minute. I'll then go into the crop module, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to extend out each side like so. As if, I'm going to keep them in the middle, as if we now want to basically add in water at the side. Why not just give them a bit above as well? So we'll go to the sides first. So I've added that frame on the outside. Now if I hide the background, you can see that now what I've got is this layer with nothing here and here. All I need to do, and this is incredible, you go to Edit, Content Aware Scale, and what I do is I'm just going to drag it and watch what happens. It's going to add in pixels. Okay, and you can see what it's done is added lots of pixels to the left. But what it's doing is it's stretching that ocean. And I can pull out this way. And by doing this, if you watch what's happened here, now all of a sudden, he's in way, way more sea, yet we haven't stretched them at all. And you can't even tell, really, that I've done anything. Now, if I quickly, I'm just going to do one more thing to this. Crop, I'm going to extend it up, and I'm going to show you how to do that here. Exactly the same thing. File. And I'm going to go to Content Aware Scale. If I drag this up, look at this. It has actually found the people inside that frame, and we've just given more ocean. So that's a great little trick that you can do inside Photoshop to give yourself more blank space. Yes, we'll crop that. So that's that. I just wanted to show you how I did that. Where's my Lightroom gone? Lightroom. Lightroom. There you go. So there you go. It's now come in here, and it looks completely different. I just wanted to show you how to do that because I like it. Let's see before and the after. See what I did there? I just completely changed that. Okay, let's come back to me for 1 second. Few things to point out at this point. Number one is if you head over to Photos in Color on Instagram, you can vote on next week's theme. Next week's theme choices, I actually am really excited about both of these, are water or jump. Now, a little challenging because you might think jump, well, I'm not an athlete, I don't jump. Any type of jump, you can have a dog jumping, you could have your children jumping, you could be jumping off a cliff like in this image. There's loads of different options for this. And the other one is water. Now, any type of water. I've got a photograph of the ocean here, but you could use a river, a lake, anything at all. You could have motion blur in there. You can have a slow shutter speed, loads of different options there. So if you want to vote on what you want next week's theme to be, head on over to Photos in Color on Instagram and you can vote. And the other thing, remember, this is your chance to talk to me, and all you have to do is write a comment in the description, and hopefully Rosie is going to be reading through those and asking me those questions. She's currently doing her makeup, because straight after this, can we go on, put the camera on her?
Straight after this, she has to go
to an audition. Look at her. So she's actually sitting here. Oh, she hurt her wrist as well. So she's actually doing that while looking at your questions. So, we have a question. Let's jump into question time.
It's from Helen.
Helen Jenkins Knight.
Yeah.
Yay!
Ed, I watched your video about telling a story and I was really intrigued. You said you weren't happy with the final result. I'd love to know when you stop editing and how often you revisit an image.
Oh, great.
Great question. So I have I remember that video. Sometimes, and I might get back into this, I would edit your photographs like I just did in a video. And I did one of a cat, I believe it was a cat. And I made it go all purple and magenta, and I got so far down and I liked it, and then I ruined the image. But what I was talking about in that video was storytelling through photography. The idea that often when you take a photograph, it's not about the scene. It's about what happened before, what's happening afterwards. For example, bring up the photograph from Jump that we just talked about. If we look at this photograph that is for next week's theme, we're going to bring that up right now. This might be, okay, this is Jump right there, but the story behind this is, how did he climb up the rocks? He's jumping off. Is he going to land correctly? It has an element of drama in the photograph. Now, that's easy to point out because it's somebody jumping into the water, but you can do that with almost any photograph, is tell some kind of a story. In a portrait, it's just the emotion on their face tells a story, gives it some history. So that's that. Every photograph can have a story. Second part of that question was, how often do I revisit photographs? Right now, I try and never revisit once I've done an edit, because, you know, I'm trying to get them out the door, and then I can move on to some other photographs to work on. However, when I was learning, I would often create virtual copies, and I would do an edit, and I'd get so far with it, and then I'd go, I'm going to go back and I'm going to do another edit of that. And sometimes I'd go back a few months, and after I've learned more skills and more techniques, I'd go back and have a go at re-editing a photograph. So in the beginning, definitely I would go back. Right now, I try and create the idea that I want for an image, and that will be the edit that I'll do. So in fact, let's jump back in to Lightroom down here. Let's bring this back. Let me just come out of full screen for a second, because I want to get rid of won't get rid of that at the bottom. Sorry, I'm having a few computer issues today. There you go. I'm going to show you what I mean right now about virtual copies. So if I come into the next image that we're going to look at, which is this one, Rosie won't like this one, it's sort of a spider. But if I wanted to do an edit on this, for example, I could go through here and I could move a load of sliders around here and be like, oh, I really like the point that I've got it to. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. What I can do is right click and I can go create virtual copy. And that's going to make a copy of it at its current state with those edits. So now I can go and make crazier edits, and I can work through here. And now if I go back to my first image, that's where I got to. And at any point throughout all of these, I can always hit reset. But the original doesn't get reset. So that's the beauty of having virtual copies. You can go through and make as many virtual copies without taking up any more space on your hard drive, because it doesn't actually duplicate the original image. Okay, let me remove the virtual copy. So this photograph, let me just reset it to what I had sent in. This is sent in by Howard Allen. I like it that you managed to capture this. You've really got the focus on the back of the spider, nice shallow depth of field, it's macro photography. I just don't think it particularly fits the theme of empty because we have the flowers down here. If it was empty apart from the spider, then maybe. But you've done well on the focus. The only challenge here, you've focused on the face. Always focus on the face of anything, an animal, a creature, a person. So, great work. Oh, Juan Pablo J, absolutely fantastic. Look at that photograph. You've captured the mist really pouring over the bridge here. I like the black and white tone on this. I think overall it's a little bit dark. I think this, you see we've got all this space up here at the whites, if I'm looking at the histogram right now. I can actually move it higher so I can lift those whites up a little bit. Now if we look at the before and after, you see we've got that little bit more brightness to it. Pull down those blacks, make them black. There you go. I'd go somewhere a little bit more like this. It's still moody, but it's a little bit lighter. Great photograph, and empty, yes. Long shutter speed, we know that because the water's blurry down here. Beautiful photograph, and we're kind of disappearing into the horizon with the photograph. Juan Pablo, you're getting a PIC. Still don't know what I do with the PICs, but either way, I like to do it. Justin Brott. I'm going to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of flower and rose photography, to be honest. However, because this is in black and white, I have a different opinion of it. I really like it. I like it that there's this flower in empty space. So it's kind of coming from nowhere. I just think that there needs to be a little bit more room for the stem to be seen as opposed to it just popping through. But it was almost taken in the same style as using a beauty dish in photography, portrait photography. Although we've blown out the highlights, and I know that if I bring back the exposure, can you see we've got these flat elements, which is a shame that we've blown all of that out. So just watch your highlights on that. But either way, interesting photo. Oh, look at, okay, so this is where Egypt, the old temple. I don't know where this is. I said Egypt. It's probably not. For some reason I thought I'd seen like something like this. Sepia in tone, so that means it's kept the yellows as a tone. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of sepia unless you're actually taking it in sepia, you're actually developing sepia tone film. Your sensor's also dirty in 2 spots here. Easiest way to do that is like this tool on your brush tool on the right hand side. Sorry, your heel tool, and you click and it will literally fix it for you. Outside of that, it's a little bit boring. Okay, it's of an old temple, but there's no drama behind it. There's no story within this. And that's what I was talking to Helen Jenkins Knight about a second ago. There is no story here. It's just, that's what it is. It's more representational, so it's not that interesting for me. But the exposure is really good. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of chain. I don't think it's particularly interesting. Yes, there's empty space behind it, but you've really got to work on getting some interest in your composition. This was sent in by Kirk Dedouz. But either way, a little bit more work on composition and finding something more interesting than just a chain. Is this a bubble?
Soap bubble.
The soap bubble. Oh, it says it at the end. I need to start doing that, don't I? I need to start reading the title rather. It's kind of fun guessing though. I like this a lot. This is a wonderful piece of abstract photography, which is really quite fun. You've managed to really get the focus, a nice shallow depth of field so we don't know what's behind it. And we've got all of those oily colors that we get when we photograph oil and light refracts through it. Refracts.
Oh.
It's refraction.
Oh.
Rosie just corrected me from refraction to reflection.
I thought you were saying the wrong word.
But I don't know. Now you've questioned me. I don't know.
You were trying to say reflection.
I was trying to say refraction, but I may have got it incorrect. Please correct me in the comments below. Is this light here created through refraction or reflection? Whoever is correct, the other one will buy the other one a coffee. How about that? Whoa, yeah, we've just raised the stakes here. Although, Rosie's got to leave, so. Oh, look at this one from John Esposito. Empty bleachers.
You're right.
I was right. Rosie's buying me coffee. Thank you. I like this a lot. The only challenge that I've got here is, you see the bleachers come down the side to point down here. I wish that would have got the end of the bleachers, but I'll give it to you because you have one person sitting at the top, one lonely person. They might not be lonely, actually. They might be solitary. Might be having a nice time. We shouldn't call them lonely. But either way, it's a wonderful photograph, and I like the way that you fit into the theme of empty space. We're really showing it in two ways. There's lots of empty space in the sky, but also the bleachers themselves are empty. So nice work. Salman Schaff. Okay, so this is some product photography taken. Maybe you watched my video from the Oliver Lion watch shoot that I uploaded a week or so ago. A nice reflection on the black surface, the mirrored surface. A few challenges that we've got with this, and that is if I pull down the exposure, you can see that our highlights are completely blown out here and they're a little bit straight. We'd like to see some gradation on that. And also the main issue is that my focus actually goes to the back, not to the front. Because we've got the shadow on this one, it's a little dark. And second of all, they're dirty and scratched. In product photography, you want to photograph it like new and clean. So nice attempt tonight. You've really got the blacks black, but it lacks a little bit of drama on that image. Martin Frendensborg. Oh, is that name again? Frendensborg. I'm going to go for it. Fredensborg Skizgazek. That's not your name, is it? I've tried. Okay, so this is all the way down the side of a hill with the moon. Now, honestly and truly, this is quite an interesting shot. I love the empty space in here. I love the moon just suspended up there. Isn't it amazing when you look at the moon, that it doesn't fall out of the sky? As Rosie mentioned last week, when will it ever fall to Earth? It won't. But either way, it just looks amazing. A little bit of, see, we've got a little bit of fringing through sharpening down the edge here, but I don't mind it. And I think it was taken at night with a long exposure, because it almost looks like that hill has been lit with a flash, which it can't be because it's so big. So it's probably, well, it is at night because there's the moon there. Oh, what am I saying?
The moon's out in the daytime.
Oh, the moon is out in the daytime.
The moon is always there.
The moon is always there. As well as the stars.
And as well as the sun.
And as well as the sun. Thank you, Rosie. This is beautiful. What else is always there?
The planets.
The planets are always there.
And a car.
And a car now, yeah.
A car. Oh, and a car is always there. Yeah, a Tesla's always floating around. You know? When someone's gone, when something is gone, they're not actually gone. They're still there. Just you just don't see them anymore. Aww. Okay, Joey Costello. I like this. So I like all these stars that we've got on the walkway. It's like a promenade or a pier. I think that the whole thing is just a little bit dark. I know that the sky is dark, but it's just too dark. It's a little heavy. But it's an empty pier at night. It's beautifully on theme. And I think you've actually shot it very well. If you look down here, we're sharp. And as we move back, we're sharp here. We must be at F8, something like this. Let's have a look at this. Oh, you've not sent in any information on this. Oh, no, we have. 22 seconds at F. Why can't I see F stop? Doesn't tell us your F stop. That's weird. How bizarre. Maybe you did it on bulb mode, so we don't actually... No, because it was... I don't know. Don't know what F stop, but my guess is it was like F8. Or higher even, F16 maybe. Which is like an aeroplane. They're F16s, aren't they? Okay, let's keep on going. John Barnett Erlandson. Was this the guy that sent in the awesome moon photo before? So this one, I like it Unfortunately, the moon's a little blurry, and I see what you've done there. You've created this beautiful amount of empty space to the left of it, which is very interesting. But the moon is out of focus or blurry. So we need to always work on our sharpness with things like this. Trappedams. Oh, look at this photograph. Okay, so let's talk about this for a minute. Number one, love the photo. What a fantastic photograph this is. Lovely lone photographer walking through here. I love all of the ears of corn or grass which is there. And I love the sky that it's beautifully overexposed around the subject, but then we managed to pull back the exposure in the sky. That there is crisp, it's clean, it's got story, it's got feeling. It's a really beautiful photograph. And in fact, what I did yesterday on Instagram was I posted this photograph on Instagram because I always try and post your photos and celebrate you, and hopefully people click through and look at each other's work. But I thought that this was from last week, so I posted it yesterday before we even did the live show. But I did something to it. Guys, if you're watching right now, go to Instagram, go to Photos in Color, and look at the last thing that I posted. It's actually, I turned this into a bit of a video where I animated it. And somebody asked me, okay, how did you do that? Was it a, let me read this, the comments here. Somebody had said that it was, let me read this. They had said that, oh, why can't I read it anymore? Pretty cool. Load previous, oh, cinematograph. Somebody said that it's a cinematograph. Now, actually, let me talk about what a cinematograph is. A cinematograph is when you take a video and you freeze an element of it and you let the rest of it move. For example, you could video the ocean and you could freeze somebody in it and have the water still moving behind them. This was done in a slightly different way. This was done by taking a still image and adding motion to elements of it. So it's actually the opposite to a cinematograph, actually. So go take a look at that, and basically we've got the sky moving, we've got all the wisps of corn that's coming across, and it was just some very simple animation that I did to make it happen, but I thought it really added something to this image. Trappedams, that is your name on Instagram, don't know your real name. It is absolutely awesome. Love this photograph. You get a PIC. Do we have any more questions?
Yes, actually.
We do have questions, Rosie.
I'll find this one because it's quite interesting. Oh, I found it actually.
Okay, Rosie found it. Good question.
Preset is from Rick. Preset for portraits. Can you say if I shoot a portrait that is reasonably well exposed and apply your presets to said image, would it look as pro as well as your images?
Okay, so we're talking about presets. Great. So if you take a photograph which is exposed well and has a good composition, if you add a preset, will it look as good as mine or somebody else's? Kind of an impossible question because every single photograph, I know it seems like an easy way out, but every single photograph is different. So you can't just be like, oh, if I kind of shoot it, will it kind of work? What I can say is this: when I take photographs and when I edit them, I use my presets. So when I apply a preset to my image, it looks great. So if you take a photograph, which is similar in quality to what I take, and you apply my preset, then yes, you will get a fantastic result that looks, and I'm pleased that you think that my work is wonderful. So yes, remember presets are a fantastic starting point. Every image is slightly different. So if you under or overexpose something, then it's going to give you a slightly different effect. But let me show you a preset here. Let's go to Trappedams here. We're going to be using it on a JPEG, so we're not going to be getting the results that we really should be getting, but I'm going to give you an example here. So if I bring in this here, and we'll have a look. Now, there are no edits here, although it has been edited, but say if this came in with a really low exposure like this. If I was to click on, say, a vintage film, let's go for a Kodak portrait, sorry, so we click on this, that's going to give this effect. Now, it's changed, it looks great, but what I would always do before I clicked on a preset would be set my exposure. So for example, if we lift the exposure on this, and I would be, you know, I'm happy with the exposure, Now all I need to do is when I click on one of these, you can see that the effects are a lot better. So what you always do before you actually do an edit is you set your exposure, just this one slider up here. And then you can click through and you will get wonderful effects. That's why we use presets. Photographers use presets. Either they purchase them or they make their own presets. I made my own presets and then I made them available. Let me tell you one more thing though. When you click through any of these presets, and there's 10 different packs of presets. So these are all of the contemporary films down here, very filmic in their feeling. And then you've got instant film, which are really fun down here. Things like this, look at that, looks amazing. And there's all sorts of things. There's studio film, there's daylight film, and they're all kind of linked to the style of photography. But they all work for anything. So daylight, this was taken in daylight. So if I look at the daylight films and I click through, we're going to start getting wonderful results here. And another favorite is the black and white. So you click through all sorts of really beautiful black and white feeling images. And look, I'm just doing one click to get these effects. Now, one thing I want to point out is when I click on one of these, it changes absolutely everything here. And then you can go through and make some tweaks. But if you're not confident with making those tweaks, I've also built the preset system, which basically will just edit one section. So let's look at the tone curve here. If I come onto the side here and go to curves, go to filmic, I can click through here, and the only thing it's going to change is the curves. So I could have maybe selected something up here and go, I really like this, but I want to try a slightly different curve. Well, I can just go through and change my curves for that preset. So presets are very powerful, and yes, if you get your composition and exposure right, you can get wonderful results. My presets are called PIC presets. They are available on photosincolor.com. So go and check them out, take a look. You can even download a free one to give it a go yourself. Done. Let's keep moving. Let's keep going here. Okay, so is this empty? Yes, it's an empty bridge, but I think that it's a little boring as a photograph. There's no real focus, there's no real drama to this photograph apart from the fact that there's nothing on it. Unfortunately, with this one, if there was something on the bridge, it would make it better. So it kind of works against the theme of empty. Oh, I like this nice empty ocean apart from this one single sailing boat. I do like this. You've really got the sunset, and what I like about this is the muted tones. It's kind of like a pastel or pastel feel. Do you say pastel or pastel?
Pastel.
Pastel.
I say pastel.
Yeah, you see, and again, more questions. Pastel or pastel?
Pastel.
So I always say that the pens that you use are pastels, but the colors you create are pastels. I think I just made that up. I should be a writer for Urban Dictionary, and just all the things that I make up, just post on there. Okay, I really like this. The composition is wonderful. Everything really good. Let's keep going. Okay, so this one is an empty road. I like it, but you have overcooked the image. The colors are extreme. The greens are far too green, in my opinion. The reds are too red. The blues are too blue. And I can almost guarantee you've over-sharpened, and most definitely you have slapped on a load of clarity, and that's what's giving it this kind of weird, the darks around the leaves are just too dark, so too contrasty. So what would I do to this? I would, first of all, because of the feeling of this, I won't use a preset because we talked about that. Instead, what I would do is I'd come down to the reds and I would move the reds. See how there's all the greens and everything? I'd get the yellows and I'd push it to the red side. Okay, I'd take the oranges and I'd push that slightly to the reds as well. And then what I'd do is I'd go to the greens and I would desaturate the greens. And already look at how this image has gone from kind of a weird psychedelic feeling, and it's completely changed. And I would even go to the blues and I'd pull back the blues. And the aquas, you see the aquas living up here. There now is an image. We're looking way more natural and beautiful in just a few little sliders. So I hope that you like that. And oh, I have to mention your name because it's Alpha Omega, Alex Alpha Omega, because my name should be Edward Delta Echo. I think I change that every week.
It's been that long, I think.
It has? Oh, look at this one. Anthony Hurst. Wow. Okay. So this is interesting. Rosie just said, can we go there? Where is this? It's a water villa. It's interesting because what you've done is you've actually put the subject in the upper third and you've kind of got rid of the sky and you've given more interest to the beautiful turquoise ocean. And actually, I think it works. I think you've done a fantastic job with some really interesting framing on this. Your composition is flawless. I'm going to say it. I think it's very interesting. Few challenges that you've got. You've added a vignette. And what you've got is you've got your vignette, which has hit the edge of the buildings, or your lens has a vignette. Let's see if we can go to lens corrections down here. And let's see what it comes up with. Where's lens corrections? Here it is, profile. Okay, we don't know what lens it was shot on. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come down to manual here and I'm going to go to vignetting. I'm going to lift the edges. So you can see there, what I did is I just got rid of that vignette and it just opens up the image as a whole. But this is a fantastic photograph. I love it. Water Villa, Anthony Hurst, PIC. Oh, it happened. Okay. Anybody have any idea what's going on? Is this a motorcycle helmet, like bullfighting human thing? I literally have no idea what's going on right here. It's in Namibia. It's interesting. It's odd. I can say that. Nice empty landscape. The problem is here, the subjects are being kind of ruined by all of this land behind them. If you'd have got lower, like a lot, like on the floor, and then you could have had them standing on the horizon, and that, the photograph would have just completely and utterly changed. Would have been way more interesting, and then tried to get a bit of a background blur, so I'd have used a lower f-stop. Currently, oh, it's shot on a phone, I believe. The reason I know it's shot on a phone is it was shot at 5mm, yet it doesn't look like a fisheye. Anything below 8mm basically becomes fisheye. So if it doesn't look like a fisheye, which this definitely doesn't, it looks like a 50mm lens, it was taken on a cell phone, which are usually like between 5 and 7mm, 3 and 7mm. There you go. Yeah, I don't have a clue what that is. Anybody got any ideas? Anybody else take part in weird sports? Maybe it's because it's the Olympics right now. Maybe this is going to be in the Summer Olympics. Come on, what can we call this? In the comments, let's see if we can name the sport. Give it the funniest name that we can. Brain damage. This is what the sport should be.
Someone said they're looking down a wormhole. They're definitely not.
They're not. They're wearing helmets. They're headbutting each other. There is no wormhole. I don't know what that is. Yeah, come up with some themes for that. Okay. I like the edit on this. I like the color. You've got a few problems here, though. It's blurry. You've got the nice... I like what's happening down here, so that you've got long exposure of 8 seconds, meaning that you've got this beautiful blur on the water, but you've shot it handheld, meaning you've got blur on the buildings. Those buildings have to be sharp. Sharp, sharp, sharp. Really important with something like this. So that's a bit of a shame with that photograph, unfortunately. Is it in Europe? Because that's the Vodafone symbol. It's a cell phone company in Europe. Okay, way too much going on here. We've got a building behind, a wall here, a building behind that, a subject here. You've got to try and find a way more interesting way to photograph something like this so that you don't have this photograph, which essentially is a mess. Although the 4 wreaths, I'm wondering if this is for the veterans of the First World War. Poppies is what I'm guessing. So respect for that. But I think that just the composition needs a lot of work. Oof, black and white. So I love what you've done here with this black and white photograph. I'm going to show you all how to do this, actually. So I think you've over sharpened it. I can tell here in the sky you've got too much sharpening going on. It's also meant that everything looks a little too crazy down here in the field. Outside of that, composition, Love it. Love the emptiness of it. Love the clouds. And if anybody's wondering, how have they got the clouds to look like that? Is anybody wondering how they've managed to get the clouds to look like that? Because I know I'm wondering that. I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to jump to this photograph because I've just seen it that it's got a blue sky. Let me show you what you do. You'd go black and white, just like so. But you see now the sky has gone all kind of washed out. You come down here to black and white, and you take the blues and you go way backwards, and look at that. Now it looks like it's been photographed at night. That's how you achieve something like this. I'll show you another one. I'm just flicking through. I'll get to these photographs. So if we make this black and white, there's not much blue in this one, but like so. Look at the blue, which is in the middle here. I take the blue and I go way back, and all of a sudden it looks like the sky is really dark. So what they've done there, that's exactly what they've done on this photograph. And I think that it's worked. Congratulations, Bruno Gales. PIC. Oh, cute dog. Casper Frost. Empty, I guess, is the white wall behind the dog. I think this is a beautiful portrait. Great job. The problem is, we got the ears. We wanted the back of the ear here, and you needed to step back a little bit. You should have got a 50mm lens so you couldn't zoom out. You needed to step back and get the chin of the dog. You can't cut the dog's chin off. But you could do something cool with that. You remember earlier when I extended the side of the frame, you could extend it out here and here, then add some text and make it a thought bubble. That would be really funny. You know, that's how you could create something great out of that. Should we do that? I'm going to do it because I like doing these things. We're going to hit edit in Photoshop. Ready? Open anyway. I've got to update my Photoshop. Okay, so here we go. All I'm going to do is do exactly what I did before. Let me zoom out. I'm going to crop this way. Oh, I did it again. Command J first, always. Let's go into crop. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go like this. Baboo and baboo, right? And then I'm going to go, make sure that's selected. Mode. Content aware scale. I'm going to stretch it up. Oh, it's going to grab the ears though. So that's what you have to be careful of with this. Is if it can't find the image well enough, it's going to start moving things that you don't want to move it. It's not a problem. All you need to do is you go in a few times and you start extending it. So you go like this. See, now it's doing it. Then as soon as it starts moving it, you go again. And then you can keep on doing this. Now, another way of doing it, I'll show you in a second. So we'll go again until it moves it. There you go. Another way is you just select. So if we go to the selection tool, you select the section which don't have the ears in, and then you can content aware scale. The problem with that is it's not going to move any of this down here, and you can end up with a weird line about where I edited it. So I do something like that with that image, and now actually the empty space has become way more dramatic, and now it's kind of funny that the dog has disappeared into the bottom. And then you can add a speech bubble and some text, which is like, hungry with a picture of a bone. That's what I do. Anyway, I don't know why I just did that, but I like it, so I'm going to pick it. Chris Briggs. Empty space, I like it. It's during sunset. We've got this wonderful shadow. It's not a shadow, is it? What's it called? Reflection. That's a No, that's not a refraction. This is a reflection. Get it right. I like it, and I like the color tone of it. It's a simple photograph, not my style of photo at all, but I like the simplicity. And again, if you look here, the bird is looking into the empty space as opposed to into the edge of the frame, which is correct. So good work, Chris Briggs. Okay, these are just ducks. There's nothing much going on here, Chris. I think you need to work on the composition of this. Is that snow and ice behind, maybe? If so, you just need to work on the composition to create something more interesting as opposed to just ducks hanging out on some water. Oh, David Collette has done a smackdown with an aerial photo. I love this. Why is this so great? Because it's layered. Look here, it's like a cake. If you go from the bottom, you've got the blue, the dark blue, the turquoise, then you've got the white, and then you've got the water that has only just been here, and the tide is probably going out. So then you've got one slightly darker here, and you have the lighter up at the top there. That is a perfectly composed image. And why is it so great is because the angle of all of those lines is leading me to the subject, which is a runner running directly in one of those elements. That there is composition nailed, you've nailed your exposure, and you've nailed all of it, the color and everything. David Collette, you get a PIC for a very well thought out photograph and wonderfully captured. I love that. Anybody else here love that? Just me? It's just so pleasing. Great. Rosie wants to now go to the beach. David, don't do that, because then I have to take Rosie to the beach. Son of a beach. Eddie Stark. Ooh, are you part of what's that movie?
Iron Man.
Iron Man. Are you Iron Man? Are you Iron Man's brother? The Stark Foundation. Is this in Toronto? Tirana? Is this that, what's it called? The needle in Toronto?
Oh, yeah. Isn't it the needle? No, I don't know.
Yeah, why not? So, a few challenges here is it's not pointing upwards, it's pointing over to the side a little bit. So you'd always want to straighten it, but it's a little too close to the top. I know I made it closer by zooming, by editing it a little bit, but I like it nevertheless. And your sky's gone purple, and you're too close. I think that you got to come out and let it breathe. It's not really empty space, actually, so I'll move on. This, we jumped to it earlier. I love this. This kind of tone on the water just looks so alive and so rich. I love it. And I think that having this boat sitting there is really beautiful. Really beautiful. It's a lonely boat. Maybe the boat's not lonely, just hanging out, it's waiting. Instagram, the vote is currently 85% water, 15% jump. Looks like none of you guys like to jump. So it looks like it's going to go for water, but head over to Instagram, photos in color, and vote. We've only got 10 minutes till the end of the show. Let's keep going. Okay, so this is one of those water droplet photos that I don't know if it's just me, but it just makes me think of the 90s. I feel like lots of people did this in the 90s because it was kind of a challenge to do. Now, you've got a nice round, it's not quite in focus, unfortunately. And really what you want to do is you want to see the line of the spladoosh coming up and then the ball above it. So we've just got the ball. We kind of want the line below it pointing towards the spladoosh. That's a technical term. Overall, it's a little bit dark as well. But I don't know if we brighten it up, and the color, like, I don't mind it as an image. I just don't. With these images, I always have a problem because I'm like, why? I don't really care. But now I feel bad, Ferrin, because you maybe spent lots of time on this. So technically, working on something like this to get the shadows, I think is really wonderful, and it's a great thing to test your skill as a photographer, for sure. Helen Jenkins Knight, here you are. Oh, look at this, it's empty. We have, this is either a shed, which is empty, or it's a child's play area, which is empty.
Little playhouse.
It's a little playhouse, which is empty. It's all worn out. Maybe your children have grown up. I really like this photograph. The challenge is here, it's too close. I can't, it's only subject. So what we're doing here is we're losing the story. I want to pull out a lot more. Now, I don't know what lens you've shot on. Maybe it was a 50mm. You would have had to walk backwards. But I want to see its surroundings. I want to see where it is. I want to see why it's empty, you know? But it's right there in the theme. But you can see we're just close to the edges on all sides, you know, at the bottom. Give me some breathing space. Like this. Sean Montreal. This has lots of breathing space. This here is right next to a misty lake. The challenge is your sharpening. So I know how much sharpening you've got in here because look at all of these dots. You've just added a massive amount of sharpening to this image, which I just don't think it's needed. You don't need to sharpen something which is smooth. So to get around that, because you've added sharpening, is you can add noise reduction. So if I just go noise reduction, booyah. I don't know if you can see that on your screens, but I've just pulled out all of the noise in that image, basically. And if we zoom in down here, we still have plenty of sharpness going on down here. But just really be careful on sharpening, guys. People are always tempted to add a lot of sharpening to things. Walk off the earth. Wait a minute. Oh! This is the idea that you could walk off this and walk off the earth. I kind of like that. But does anybody know the YouTube channel Walk Off the Earth? No? Go check them out. There are these guys that they re-record people's songs, and they are amazing, but they do it with really interesting instruments. My favorite one, it was called Five Guys, One Guitar. And
I have seen that.
there was Gotai, remember? Boom, 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 boom. I can't sing boom, boom, boom. Somebody that I used to know, they did that, but they all played it on one guitar, like this, and it was super cool. Search for that, Walk Off the Earth, Gotai or something. I just look at all their stuff. I had this guy the other day that did a jump. Can we come to my camera? He was like, he ran down the stairs. They were playing all these interesting instruments, and a guy ran down the stairs, and he jumped to one of those jumps, you know, when you go like this. I can't do that. When you go, bunk, and there was cymbals in the air, and right on the beat, he like ran down, he went, and he was playing this music, and he went, psh. It was super cool. Check out Walk Off the Earth. There you go. Let's keep going. Okay. Mike Oric, a little bit over processed here. So you can see we've added, I know that you've added clarity to this, and you've just ruined all of your grass, unfortunately. I just think you've added too much contrast to this. There's just too much, too heavy. Sometimes you need to take back the heaviness, like lose a little contrast on this, like lift the brightness. Well, you've gone too far. I can't do anything with it. All the way down here, you've just added so much clarity to this. You've ruined the image, and that's such a shame. I like the emptiness of it, but just be careful on your processing. Oh, I like the emptiness of this too. The beautiful mountain range from Thomas Chandy. Really is nice. Yeah, the blacks are black, the whites are white. I can't really see a fault. I don't think it's the most interesting, but it's quite beautiful for that. So nice work. I would have liked to see a little bit more down at the bottom here, actually. But that's about it. Let's keep going. Oh, empty. Okay, this is kind of interesting. I see what you've done, but you've completely overexposed this window. So the main feature is completely blown out. But I think that what's really cute is that you've put your signature at the end. So we're all focusing on your signature. Personally, I don't like that in photography. We should love your photograph and want to find out who it's by as opposed to sticking your name all over it. But you just overexpose the image. But for the theme, empty space, I love it. It's really great. You just needed to maybe do a double exposure, one for the inside, one for the outside, and then done a composite in Photoshop. Ooh, what's this? Is this a dog? A goat? What is that? Is it just a stick? I don't know. But it's all empty. It's kind of, I don't think it's black and white. It's muted in color. I think that I would go black and white with it. If I'm just going to do this, and then I'm just going to make the blacks like a little bit more like this. Before I had this weird blue tone to it that I don't quite get. I'd make it black and white. I like it. You need it to be lower to the ground to really get the perspective of the ocean, I think. But overall, it's not so bad. I'm going to see. I'm moving faster this week. I'm pushing through more. Martin Pless, please. Oh, I love this. Look, it's a nice empty bench overlooking a nice sunset. A little heavy on your processing. I can see that you've got a dark line here because you've added this light for the sun. Which I don't mind it when you do that. Just be careful that you don't end up with hard lines like this because it makes it too obvious. But overall, you know, it's quite a nice photograph. The bench might be a little too close to the edge of the frame, though. Well, it's definitely empty. It's like a sunset after the sunset, which I don't mind. I just don't think it's the world's most interesting photograph. If you ever had a silhouette of a person walking on there, now it would be something else. The emptiness is what lets this photo down, unfortunately. Oh, whereas this one, so it's been created in Photoshop. That's a shame. I was going to say I really like this. Well, actually, I don't mind it, whatever. It's fine that you've created it. The idea is that this is completely blown out, and then we've got this very hard, it's like an impossible photograph. Unfortunately, you're editing, you're cutting out, or maybe it wasn't, maybe you've just over-sharpened it. Either way, that's a shame when I zoom in. The photograph doesn't have the quality that I would really want from it. But it is a striking image and right there on the theme. Oh, look at this, empty. This, you see, is this again, over sharpened? My word, guys, be careful. Like, look at this. I'm zooming in and all I'm getting is like crazy sharpening patterns. You don't sharpen that much. You're ruining your images. But outside of that, you know, I like the sun. It's really after it's been set. I like it that it's on, I can't tell if it's snow or sand because it's been over sharpened. I'm going to guess it's snow. Either way, I like the composition. I like we've got the stars and the sun. Was this a composite or did you bring it out in post? Either way, really beautiful work. Do we have any more questions, Rosie?
Do one more and I'll find it.
Okay.
Oh, I found it.
Oh, Rosie found it. One more question. Here we go.
I shot a great, this is from Oliver, I shot a great street scene, a once in a lifetime shot, but the object is not sharp, pretty much out of focus. Is there a creative trick to rescue the photo and still use it, or do I have to live with the fact that I effed up?
Okay, so you missed focus on something that was amazing. Don't worry about it. Like, just if it's out of focus, it's out of focus. You can't put something back in focus. That's not how it works. So what I would recommend doing is use that to your advantage, and maybe what is in focus? Maybe the background is in focus. So whatever's in the foreground, if you wanted that to be, blur that out even more so it tells more of a story that it was against this background. But you're never going to bring it back. Trying to sharpen things when they're out of focus just looks like you've tried to sharpen something that's out of focus. So there is a level of accepting that you effed up, but you didn't F up. You captured the moment with the skill level that you had, and maybe you just had to do it really quickly and you missed focus. It happens. It's not a problem. But it doesn't mean the image has to be bad. You can just creatively accept that that's what it was. Okay, I'm going to jump through some more. Rosie needs to leave in a minute. We're going to go over by a few minutes because I want to get through some more photos. But let's go through this. Empty, a nice empty street. I'm guessing this is, oh no, it's next to a train track. I love this, the snow coming down. I love the shallow depth of field. We've really got the sharpness where we want it. Odd Martin, is that your name, Odd Martin? Are you Odd Martin? Beautiful, and I love the processing on it. It is quite heavily processed, but it almost looks like it could be a book cover to a book, to a story, to like a mystery set in Eastern Europe. I don't know, I made that up, but I think I like it. Oh, look at this. It's like the dog is like 3, 2, 1, go on then. And the dog's about to run. It's a little out of focus right here, which is a shame. Almost like, I don't know, I want the dog moving, I think, into the space. At the moment, the person's talking to the dog. We don't really know what the interaction is. I don't mind it, but I don't love it. I think that it's a little bit, we're lacking the story in this photo. Oh, that's kind of cute. A guy walking along here on side of a walkway. There's a city or something behind him. You know, I quite like it. It's just a little bit dark in the shadows. And while it's a nice street photograph, I don't know that it's telling much of a story. Maybe black and white would help with something like this, and then lift up those whites. Like really like, you know what? Yeah, this for me, look at that. Now we're in the theme of empty space, before and after. Way more interesting. Look at that. That is a huge change of that photograph just by seeing that, oh, you know what? The color was letting it down. So I flipped it to black and white. Also, guys, use the black and white button. Always do that. Don't slide your saturation to 0. Really just black and white. Let's do this. Empty, gates. I get it. It's a bit flat as an image. Okay, you want to make your blacks black and your whites white. Something more like this, before and after. It's just closed gates to me. Nothing. I don't really know what's going on. Oh, it's a buoy. It's a buoy in the ocean. It is very empty, but it's a little dark, and I don't know that putting it smack bang in the center of this frame really did anything for it. Rosie, are we leaving? Okay, let's all say goodbye to Rosie. Put Rosie on the screen. She'll say bye. Good luck, Rosie.
Thank you.
Good luck for your audition. You're going to be amazing. Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, let's keep going. That's a photocopying machine. Don't get it. Tobias Wamskash. Not on Instagram, they said, but I like it. We've got the rays of light coming back from here. And I do like that we've got this windsurfer right here, which I think is really fantastic. I actually like the tone of this image as well, although I think it's a little dark. I want to just lift it up a hair, just like this. Look at that, before and after. So we just allowed it to come to life that little bit more, because the sky is blown out anyway, so we can't save that, I don't think. Oh no, look at that, we can save that. So to save that, if I don't want to reduce it down here, all I do is come into the brush tool, double click effect to reset, and go to the highlights and bring it down here. And then all I need to do is paint over the sky. Look at that, we brought the sky, before and after we brought the sky back, which is always very exciting to do. I like the composition, it's interesting. Okay, so the empty is that half the face is in shadow and it disappears to black. I don't mind that. I think that it's just a little, I don't know. I don't know that I think it's too much side light here so that we've really gone to black. I think that we need to see something on the other side. We need a fill light, or at least a reflector to bounce a little bit of light back into the other side of the face. Do we have those details? Yep, they're not even captured, unfortunately. Nice photo, but I think the execution needed some work. Product photography. Was this taken like this, or was it photoshopped? I believe it was taken against this red background, but was it hanging? Hanging from a thread, maybe. Okay. Ray didn't like that. Ray was disappointed. Again, look, product photography, guys, we have to make sure things are clean. I mean, I don't mind it that it's not perfect, but this bit of dust here, we can get rid of it in post, actually, but these are the little tiny bits of detail that we must attempt to, in some way, get rid of, just because it makes it look so much better. And does the red and the blue and the green kind of work? I think there's too much color going on. If you want to change those colors, remember you can always come into your reds, because it's a red background, and you could change it, maybe to pink. I don't know. I just don't know. I think that the colors don't go together.
Yes, it was hanging.
It was hanging from a thread. So I like it, but work on your colors. Make sure that they really do match. Maybe that background, maybe if we take, what if the background didn't exist? Well, it exists. More like that. I don't know. I'm ruining this photo. I just think that the red doesn't work for me. Okay, we're really high up. Is this one of those satellite things? I think it is. It like looks at things. We're kind of above the clouds. I think we'd want to bring the blues down. Oh, we can't. Okay, we've not got much detail in this. It's very noisy as an image. Yeah, empty space. I don't think it's very interesting. I like it that there's all of this on the side, but we need to highlight it in some way. Ooh, Nitin Jain. Yellows. Wow. My opinion, those yellows are just popping there. I'd bring the yellows way down. Okay. Before and after, that made me nervous. I'd go somewhere way more like this on this image, just to make it look more realistic, at least. So yeah, just really work on your yellows. I think you were in last week and there was too many yellows as well. Maybe you need to color calibrate your monitor. But empty field, I get it. I don't know what's empty about this photo. I'm not gonna lie. Empty bottle of water with a label around it and the light behind it. I think that I get what you've gone for. You wanted to show a nice empty bottle, but it's not particularly very creative. There's no color. The background is very bland, and you can see the light through it. You often want the light to be reflected through it, as opposed to just seeing the bull behind it, because I can just see it. It's not very, in that respect, you've not really pulled it off as an image, unfortunately. Keep going, last few, we're gonna get through them all today, I think. Empty street, oh, where is this? Where are we thinking this is? What language is this? Holland? Germany? Somewhere? I don't know. Oliver Hadel. Oh, you often tune in, but I can't remember where you're from. I like this a lot. I really love the reflection from the lights on the side that we've got on the stones. Beautiful, deep depth of field. Munster, Germany. Booyah. Did you say Munster?
I said Germany.
Oh, well, okay, work harder.
I get 50%.
German's good, but we need to get Munster. Cheese. Munster cheese. Is it from there? I bet it is. I'm going to say it is. Great work. Kev, you get a point for that. Ray, you're lagging on your points today. We've created a point system, it seems like. I think that we need to see a little bit more of the top of the buildings, though. But outside of that, I love the open, empty feel of that. Wonderful. Did you remove people, or is there just nobody in Munster? What's happening? There's nobody there. An empty bus. You know what? It's a piece of street photography. I kind of like that. I kind of like the blues that you've got in here on the stop sign. It's kind of an interesting photo. It's nice. Oh, look at that. Empty, beautiful leading lines pulling down there. I don't think it's level. It's not. So a great way to level, you can just rotate like this, but another great way is if you touch this button here, and you can actually draw the horizon. If you watch, if I draw the horizon, it will move it. Now it's now it looks a little bit better. The trees are a little dark, unfortunately. So I'm gonna lift the shadows and see if it helps us. Yeah, you don't lift it too much actually, because that looks boring now. But just pulling those out a hair gives us that little bit of detail. But I love it that it disappears, and I love the pure whiteness about it, just snow. Beautiful empty space. Ashwini Gupta, beautiful shot. Pick, I'm gonna pick it. Cross on a hill, it's empty. Too much clouds on this day, unfortunately, and that's what's let you down. And then there's not much detail. It's just a bit misty, it's a little washy. So Daniel Adamski, I think that just a little bit of work on the edits on this, it's just a little bland. Now this here, I like it. If this is a boat, it is a little boat on a wonderfully blown out image. Now my guess is on this, I don't know how you've blown it out, because there's still sharpness. I thought you added a blur to this, but there's some kind of a flare coming from over here. It's very dramatic. I like it. I don't really get it. And I don't know if I love the pink, but either way, it's like a tilt shift image. It's quite fantastic, actually. It's a nice work. An empty trough with a spout for the water to come out of. Okay, I get it. I think it needed to be further back so we can see the entire trough, although you wanted to show that it was empty, so that makes sense. And then your colors, I think you needed to get them all into the right area. So again, I'm gonna pull back my yellows into the red. I'm gonna take my greens into the oranges, like so, and then I'm gonna reduce my greens out a little bit, and I'm actually gonna reduce my blues. So now what we've got before and after, we've just pulled all those colors slightly into the orange tones, red tones, so it makes it a little bit more autumnal. We can also go down here to the red primary, and you can move the red primary towards the left, which is gonna really bring in those rustic tones. So nice, but I get it actually. Now that I've done a little edit, I do like it a little bit more. I think it was the colors that were too crazy. Oh, I like this, an empty pier. People walking on the beach, a beautiful couple. I really like this. This has got texture. This has got feeling. This has got emotion. This is absolutely wonderful. Rene Lucha, congratulations. Good work on an engagement session just there. Pick. Empty. Okay, so anybody know what the issue with this is? Anybody know? I'm gonna put it out there. The boat is looking to the edge of the frame. If something is going in a direction or would go in a direction, you want it to go into the frame, not out of the frame. And unfortunately, that's what you've done here, and it's let the photograph down. You needed the boat on the left-hand side of the frame for this to really work. Brandon Mooney. Okay, so this is empty. Nice. Oh, I hope you did this safely. Okay, so we're in an empty road on a bridge and a nice photograph. Few challenges that you got here. I don't know, your focus though is here. Can you see this? The focus is right here. It's not on the subject, so you need to work on that. And second of all, this is a planned photo. Think about what the subject is going to wear, because I think that the blue in the shorts just doesn't match what's going on. So it means that the photograph's got a bit of a disjoint to it. And again, the colors are all over the place. So with that, if you hit black and white, it's going to make it a little bit more interesting. But again, your focus was off there. Wenisa Lima, oh, I like this. How cool is this? Look, you got all of these trees and the empty trees, and the people are filling in the gap of the empty tree, of the missing tree. I like that. I like that a lot. I like that it's framed low. I think it's a really interesting photo. I want to know where that is. It's kind of cool. I wonder if that was an artistic decision not to plant the tree, or if the tree died. Or it was photoshopped out. You're so cynical. Dun, dun, dun. Was it photoshopped? I don't think it was photoshopped out. Do you think? I think there was a tree there. There was a little hump. I think the tree died. I think the tree died. That's a shame. But either way, I like the composition and everything. But I think that you've used your clarity. I can tell that because you can look at the greens and the leaves and look at the sharpening. Too much sharpening, guys. That is cute. Adam Watson, that is an adorable photograph of a child. Unfortunately, it's not in focus. The focus looks to me like it's in front of the child. Yep, it's over here somewhere. So really, shots like this, you've got to get it in focus for it to really work. And also, I'd have got lower, even lower, really, so you'd have got more of the reflection that way of the child. Empty, I kind of like that. The empty road just clearly zigzags, and then the sign here saying it's zigzaggy. It's kind of fun. It's a very dirty road, and I don't know that this photograph doesn't look very level to me because of the sign, you see? Even if the sign's wonky, you want to get the sign level because then it looks better. And then you've got this couple walking down there. It looks like it's very cold, definitely. I like the composition of this photograph, definitely. I like it that we're framed with the people and the sign, so great work on the composition. I think, though, it's just all a little bit too dark. Just lift it up a little bit. Look how that changed. Just lift it up. Bring it out. Bring it out. John Albion, same again. Look, the boat, it's not smack bang in the middle. It's moving towards the end of the frame. It needed to be framed on the right-hand side, so it's moving into the frame, because now, I don't know, this is pointless now. The whole empty space of this photograph has let you down. Oh, we've already done those ones. Oh, look at this one. That is a camera down. We got a camera down. It's okay. It's fine because we're about to end anyway, and it's only the close-up, which we basically don't use. What do we got here? This is a boat, a cargo ship, really in the middle of nowhere. I love it. It's kind of moody. It's kind of emotional. I like the colors. Adam Mikulski. Mikulski, did I say your name right? I hope I got someone's name right. I felt good about that one. Nice work. Oh, look at this, empty. It's not empty, there's someone there. But I like it because it is empty, apart from one. He's smoking, terrible for your health. I like it though. It's interesting. I like the way that all of the seats are down the right-hand side and you've got empty space to the left. It means that we've been led into this one table here, and then we're led north to go look at the one north. Not led north, are you? You look up. But either way, I think that's a nice photo. Nice. That would do well on Instagram. I feel like it's a good Instagram photo. It would need to be edited for Instagram. There's specific styles that you would edit for Instagram. Maybe I'll do that one week. Yellows, whoa, they are crazy. Bring the yellows back, make them go to the oranges because it's a sunset. It's empty, but it's kind of devoid of any real interest as well, unfortunately. It's a nice sunset with some tree branches, but I want to see more of the tree. I want to see what's down at the bottom here. Last few, here we go. Love, love, love. Emil Tranegard. Beautiful. I like it that this person is smack bang in the middle. That's how to do it. If it's going to be in the middle, make them in the middle. It washes out to pure white. Beautiful tones down here. I'm going to say it, but I wouldn't necessarily, I don't mean it necessarily, but I like it when the blacks are black. So I may have gone something more like this, and then lifted up the edge using a anti-vignette, so taking the vignette and going towards the whites like this, so I'm lifting it a little bit. Just that's maybe what I would do, but it might not be your style. I think this is a well-composed, beautiful, empty photo. Pick! Yeah, that's empty. It's kind of not, there's nothing going on. It's the top of a tree, and it's not in focus. So if we're going to do something like this against the night sky, either give me the stars or tell me more of the story behind the tree, unfortunately. I just don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. Last two. Havili. Havili. It's the sign in the sky. It's got to be more interesting than that. Well, what is it a sign for? You got to show me that building. Does that building exist, do you think? No, it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's a bit of a nothing photo for me. This one, product photography. Little overexposed on the side here, and actually what you've got here is a single light, probably a soft box, which is nice, but then it's reflected also into the back of the glass, which is why we've got this weird double reflection. But also we're looking for gradation, so you'd want to have a bigger light source, a bigger scrim or something in front of that. Talk about that in the product photography video that I uploaded a few weeks ago. Take a look at that, about the gradation using a larger light source. Outside of that, though, kind of interesting, but again, it's a kind of a do I care photo, and I personally don't care. Okay, so we're going to end the show just there. A few things to remember this week are: we are not making the link live after the show today. The link will go live on Monday, giving you only 24 hours to upload. And remember, you can also upload during the show. So that means you really should be here watching it live if possible. And it also means that you got the whole week to practice photographing this week's theme, which is, we know what this week's theme is going to be because the percent was so high unless something crazy has happened. This week's theme is 79% water, 21% jump. The winner this week is water. Next week, your photographs must include water in some sense. It can be the ocean, it can be the lake, it can be somebody getting fired with water in their face, it can be a glass of water, it can be a photograph using flashes with explosions of water, like product photography. I don't care, but there must be water somewhere in the photograph. Use very high shutter speed to freeze water in motion. Use a slow shutter speed to allow us to see it flow. So really think about that when photographing water. I will see you, I can't speak anymore. I will see you next Tuesday, 11 o'clock in the morning, Las Vegas time. Thank you so much. That is Rosie. She's just leaving. We love you, Rosie. We will see you. Thank you to Kev. He has been taking care of your photographs coming in and making sure the live stream works. Thank you to Ray. He has been clicking through all the different scenes and what is it called? Switching the live show and making sure everything is working wonderfully. Rosie was here. She was doing questions. My name is Ed Gregory for photosincolor.com. See you next week.